mute us until we go live.
Point at me. We started with the laugh.
Yes, well, we started with the laugh. Welcome in. Today is March 20th, Adventures in Business. Thank you all, whoever is joining us live, and also thank you to whoever is watching us on the recording. Mandy, here we are. This is our 15th episode.
Yes.
What's been maybe one of the most valuable lessons or things you've learned throughout this whole process?
Oh, geez, Louise Amani. I didn't practice this answer. Honestly, I didn't know much about LinkedIn going into this. And we just learn a little bit with every show. And just from scheduling the event to how viewing the analytics to how people actually watch and RSVP, just like the inner workings of LinkedIn have been really helpful for me. What about you?
I would echo that the same. Just so I do like a lot of stuff behind the scenes, so just making quick changes and just learning how to operate OBS more, and then bringing in different guests and just having them get adjusted to the platform. It's very interesting. I think it's the way of the future, as you would agree. So it's just real different. I like it.
I like it too. Oh, wait, now can you because you're a fancy techie person, can you tell the audience what OBS means so we can like help everybody else be as smart as you are?
Yes. Open Broadcast Software, OBS. We're using version 28.1.2. And it's the software that allows us to broadcast each of us virtually. It's what many news stations will use when they're doing their actual television broadcasts. And we're just scratched the surface on what's possible, because there's lots of little segues we can do and different scenes. We keep it basically, it's simple. I mean, it's pretty complex, but it's simple. And that's just what our kind of platform is. It allows us to broadcast our show on LinkedIn and wherever else we want to send it.
I love it. I love it. I have no idea what any of that means, but I'm glad you do. But I'm glad you explained it too, because I like saying, "Oh, we use OBS," but then we go from
Well,
there.
there you go. Who today, who are we going to talk to? And, we're always focused on like health and trying to live better. So I have questions. I have my list, where my cards, I have questions. So tell us who we're going to talk to today. I'm super excited. Fill us in.
Okay, I'm excited too. So we have Jenny Perrin, and she is the founder of Shift Life. Jenny Perrin. She's an integrative nutrition. Hold on. Let me look at my notes. She is an integrative nutrition health coach So she coaches people one-to-one or one-to-many. She does a lot of corporate wellness programs and is just really, really focused on what does dairy look like in your world? What does inflammation look like in your world? Like, what should we be eating? What we shouldn't be eating? So, and she made a huge shift in her life from corporate to running her own business. So let's just bring her on so we can hear all about her shift in her life.
Well, she's on our screen now. So, Ginny, welcome to Adventures in Business. Let's give you some applause here. Love some applause.
Who doesn't love applause?
All right.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
about Mandy's description of your role and what you do now would you like to explain to us further so we can really understand what you kind of have to offer today and where you
Yeah.
want to take the conversation?
Yeah. So excited to be here and even learning about OBS, I think is awesome. So I'm excited to learn a little bit about you two too, although I know Mandy very well. So this is awesome. I made a big change in my life about 10 years ago, and it's been kind of whirly and twirly, and went through this nutrition program that was really holistically based. And I love food. I love everything about food. I think about food when I wake up. I know what I'm having for dinner for 2 nights. So starting to shift my life and what I eat and my daily lifestyle choices have made an incredible difference. And I just wanted to kind of share that with everyone. So started a health coaching practice in 2018, and it's been an awesome ride ever since.
Amazing. Good.
I have a follow-up to that though. Like, because I think a lot of entrepreneurs, when we leave the corporate space, our decision to leave and become an entrepreneur has a lot to do with dollars and cents or time management. But I feel like your decision to leave the corporate space, I mean, you were a morning anchor, you were a part of a really awesome foundation business, and your decision to start your own business, I feel like had so much more to do with yourself, your health, and that other shift. So can you just share like how you're feeling, like what that looked like before and how that translates now?
So I think it's important to so how the kind of person I am is I would say probably not your typical entrepreneur, although I know there are many different personalities. I'm pretty risk averse. I like nice, steady. I went to college to work for somebody else. I mean, that was really my path. While I was working full time for a great firm and working with lots of different organizations as a consultant, traveling all the time, I needed to make a change in my life. And so I ended up listening to these podcasts, and it's always about nutrition and always about health. And I ended up signing up for this nutrition program truly because I wanted to change some things in my life, not because I wanted to become a health coach. Honestly, I didn't even know what a health coach was. I never even heard that term before. And I just started to dive in. I signed up for the program, started to make changes in my life. And then I got one client from the Cleveland area. And then it kind of like morphed into another and another and another. I didn't leave my job fully. So I had 1 foot in and then 1 foot out, although I was straddling both, I think very well. And again, didn't know when I was going to actually make the jump. And again, risk averse. So not somebody, I mean, it takes me time to make that kind of decision. So I did both for a while. COVID really shifted everything. And I ended up going full on. So yeah, kind of a different windy path.
Yeah.
Since going full on, what have been some of the more viable lessons about kind of being 100% fully entrepreneurial?
So many lessons. So I think I thought growing up and getting into getting a job and being an adult and doing all the things, that it would be hard to be self-motivated. But I feel like you're 10,000 times more motivated. You're waking up with ideas. There's notepads next to your bedside table where you're like getting up and going, oh, I better remember that. My notes app in my phone is like filled with different ideas and different things that I want to tweak, change. And I think too, the biggest thing that I thought I had to do was have it all baked out,
Mm,
like
mhm.
have the whole plan. And instead it was chunk by chunk, like figuring out what my website's going to look like and what I'm going to call it was like number one. And then what services am I going to like, just small little baby steps. And I just started to assign deadlines. I love a good deadline. I'm like total type A. So if I can check a box, like I think that's really how it kind of morphed. And then I think getting some business coaching has been incredibly helpful, Mandy. So that's been great.
This just in, Amani. I helped out with her business a little bit a couple of years ago. Yeah.
Well,
She was
what
she
did
was a
what
good
did
student.
Maddie
Good
say that
teacher.
really kind of you can't forget or you still follow to this day? I'm sure there are many things, but what comes to mind?
So say the question again. I'm sorry, Amani.
No, it's okay. Like, what did Mandy teach you that I know she taught you a lot, but
Mm.
what are some of the things you still use and are like you swear by even today, 3 years, many
Ugh.
years?
Oh.
Okay, the stuff that I don't want to do, I just don't do it. And she made me do it. And it's the things, right? When you're an entrepreneur, you tend to focus on the things that you want to do the most, right? And you keep kind of pushing aside the different strategies and things that you have to do, like creating a mail list,
Mhm.
collecting email. I mean, it was simple things like that Mandy's like, just start with getting a newsletter out, creating a system for that, and communicating with your, the people who are interested and follow you and want to learn more about you. So I think it was just truly kind of getting me off and running with the things that I knew how to do, but she gave me like the specific tactics. If I have an excuse, I won't do it. But if I don't have an excuse because she showed me how to do it on the screen, entering my email address and all the things, and we partnered together, I think that was truly like some of the most magical stuff. That's not fancy, but that's the stuff that I'm not gonna do without,
Right.
I think, a coach. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I think one of the coolest things that you developed, that you just did this year for the first time was your reset program. So
Yeah.
can you just, because I think a lot of people out there, a lot of entrepreneurs, we are consultants in some way, but we all want to develop a course or a webinar or
Yeah.
something. And you actually did it and it was just successful. Can you share what that was and what your process was and what the
Sure.
results were from that?
So I've definitely learned through the years, even my previous role working for a small firm, that it's okay to build it as you go. And
Mm,
again, thinking that I had to have it all figured out, named every single detail. So this is something that I've wanted to do since 2018. It is 2023. How crazy that it took me this long. But lots of good people, Mandy included, kind of like backing me, telling me, this is totally possible. So I created, and I will also say, there is a naturopathic doctor who I have an incredible amount of respect for, and we share a lot of patients, clients, and she was also one who said, we need this. I mean, people need to understand this. And so that really like gave me the let's do it. So what I did is I created a 5-week group online food elimination program. So what we did is we removed the most commonly eaten inflammatory foods from our diet for 3 to 4 weeks. Some people kind of jumped the gun, which was great. Some people, it took them a little bit longer. And then I helped them to slowly reintroduce the foods with the idea that once we connect how certain foods make us feel, we can start to tell what foods support our health and what foods don't. And there are definitely those like sugar. I think we all know sugar, processed foods, they don't support our health. They actually bring us down. But there's other things like eggs and dairy where we've been told growing up, that milk does a body good. But some of us have issue with that, and we need to figure out what we feel like off it. I mean, the thing is so many of us don't know what it's like to feel different or to feel good. And once you feel that, it no longer like relies solely on willpower to stay away from certain foods. Cause I grew up, diet era where we try this and try that. And then I'm hungry and forget it, I'm eating the pizza. So this is now really connecting how food makes us feel. And then you become empowered to make those choices and say, well, do I want to eat that? I know how it's going to make me feel. Sometimes it's worth it. Sometimes it's not. So anyway, it's been a great group, and the Facebook group is like still going strong. So a private Facebook group of all those different reset team members. I love it.
So if we take this a step further,
Yeah.
can you explain your experience in how what we eat affects how we sleep? One of my goals for the year is to improve my sleep. So I really want to maybe get some advice from you on maybe what I'm eating is affected, because I cannot sleep very well. I barely can get
Yeah.
5 or 6 hours without waking up and all that.
Yeah. Yeah. So, food really has a huge impact on sleep. Of course, there's other factors too, like stress. And, if we're kind of off circadian rhythm wise, because we're flying between different time zones, that daylight savings, all of that sort of stuff affects it too. But when it comes to food, the biggest thing that I work on with my clients is stopping eating at least 3 hours before bed. So if we can really give our body time to rest and repair, which is what our organs are doing at night as we sleep, it's cleaning, it's doing everything it has. If you have eaten too close to bedtime, or if you drank something sugary or alcohol, your body has to focus on cleaning that up, digesting that. If it's alcohol, it's got to get it out of your system, and your body is not going to repair. And you're not going to get that nice sound sleep, that we need. I mean, how many of us have a, glass of wine or a drink, fall asleep beautifully, but then we wake up at that 3 o'clock in the morning. That's thanks to alcohol. So yeah, that's the biggest thing. But specific foods that could be causing, some impact on, on a negative, night's sleep would be foods that inflame us. So when and this is like a big hot word, right? You're hearing all inflammation and it's thrown out, left and right. When we eat foods that our body is not prepared to digest properly, what happens is it tears little holes in our gut lining, in the inside of our intestines, and little particles of food, bacteria seep into our bloodstream. And then our body attacks it because it's a foreign invader. It doesn't recognize it. It's doing its job because our bodies are flipping brilliant. And when it's doing that, then we're getting these symptoms like we can't sleep, we have acid reflux, we get little headaches, almost all the things that we go to the drugstore for, right? The little annoying things that we just need a Motrin, or we need a, something to kind of make us feel. Those are all check engine lights in our bodies. And we've typically, I have grown up where, you just take a Motrin, or you just take a Tums. But really it's our bodies going, whoa, this is not working for you. And when you start to eat foods that don't inflame you and calm that inflammation, then it's a different day. I had headaches every single day for years. I lived on, NSAIDs. So yeah, it's big difference.
All right. Well, that was the sleep question, and then food. What's like I like sweets, and so what are some ways where I can still have some sweets, but it's still maybe a little bit better for me than what I'm probably doing now?
Yes. So this whole integrative nutrition stuff is focused on creating a way of eating, not a diet, a way of eating that is focused on the highest quality whole foods that come from the earth. So if you want something sweet, and I know right off the bat that an apple versus cheesecake, like that's like night and day, right? But the thing that we know about sugar, and I know many of us have read about this, is that our brain lights up when we eat or think about sugar, just like it does with cocaine or heroin. So the more sugar we eat, the more we want it. And when we start to shift away from processed sweets and we focus more on, Mandy knows this. So through that reset program, you can cook, like saute sliced apples in a little bit of grass-fed butter or ghee, which is just clarified butter, sprinkle a little salt, little cinnamon. It tastes like apple pie. It is incredible. And the
I
more
have it. Yeah, I do it
yeah,
every week.
yeah,
Every week
yeah.
it's in my fridge. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's really great for your gut too. Just digestion, and like warm cooked apples are awesome. The more we get away from processed sweets, the more the apple's sweeter, the raspberries are sweeter. And
Mm,
then if I go to take a sip of my daughter's lemonade, it is so sweet because my palate is not used to that. And
mm.
what I will say, Amani, is like, it's not that I never eat sweets. That is definitely not true. Key
Right.
lime pie is my favorite. Um, but I just know how I feel on it. It doesn't make me feel really good. And I know that if I need a little something sweet, a very low sugar, clean, dark chocolate is awesome. I always put it in the freezer. So it kind of, you can't eat the whole bar because it's really hard. Or, cooked apples or something like that. It's just, there's ways to use whole foods to make really beautiful desserts.
Love it.
Yeah.
Now, can we talk about something I really learned from just watching you, Jen, even just
Mhm.
following you? If any, can you tell us your Instagram, or it's probably flashing on the bottom. If you're not
Yeah.
following Jen on Instagram, follow her. I learn something new every time she posts, but
Yeah.
can you share about shopping and ingredients and
Mhm.
the pantry audits that you do? Like, just
Yeah.
share that. Cause I, like, when I started learning that, like when I was reading ingredients and stuff, I was just putting non-foods in my body because I had no
Yeah.
idea what I was eating. So can you just share a little bit
Yeah.
about that?
Yeah. I mean, I think what's happened is food is so complicated, right? I mean, I typically work with professional women who are juggling family, dog, maybe kids, all the things, and they don't have time or they don't understand. And they're like running into the store, men too, but running into the store, trying to grab something. And it is so confusing. And there's this whole concept of greenwashing where you go to the grocery store and these food packages look healthy because it says it's gluten-free or high protein or whatever. And so we buy it and then we bring it home and we start to look at the ingredients and we can't pronounce half of them.
Mm.
So yeah, so I really work to empower people who follow me on Instagram, but also clients, the Reset team, on how to just find those good swap outs. And I can share a swap out recipe for almost any recipe, a swap out food product, say spaghetti sauce, mayonnaise, mustard, any of those things. I can almost always come up with a swap out. The only recipe I can't do is lasagna. I can't do it. You got to get the real thing. But what we're looking
I
for,
love
the thing
lasagna.
is, I love, who doesn't love lasagna?
Yeah, it's so
We do it
good.
for Christmas and for special occasions. But it's like, but when you look at these ingredients in food, I have a lot of clients who, when we start working together, they'll show me the nutrition label, right? And so they're thinking that I'm looking for carbohydrate content, sugar content. I am looking for sugar a little bit, protein. I don't really care much about that. What I want to see what ingredients are in there. And if there are things in the ingredient list that you would not have in your kitchen, so TBHQ, natural flavors, yellow dye number, whatever, red dye number, whatever, carrageenan, and all these different crazy ingredients, don't buy it. Just don't buy it, because our bodies cannot handle those kind of chemicals. And these foods, in many cases, are made to keep us eating them. So there is definitely a reason why some of these processed packaged foods, it is hard to stop. And we blame ourselves. We think we need the willpower to stop it. I mean, like Lay's potato chips, they say it. You can't eat just one. I can't. I can't, right? Doritos cannot come into my house because I will eat them all because I cannot truly. But Whole Foods, it's really hard to overeat, salmon and, broccoli and beautiful garlic chicken or a stir fry made of all these awesome ingredients. But it's easy to overeat those. So really just trying to get the chemicals, the additives. If you want to learn about them, I'll post some information about them, but really it's like, just keep them out. Just go for the things that have honey and chia and nuts and, things that are like real food. Eat real food.
Got it. So I'm sure during this conversation, we're going to go back and forth between like health tips, discussion, business. For you, though, I want to ask, it's very difficult to go from like the corporate life to being an entrepreneur. It's extremely difficult. Most people don't make it. What has been the secret to your success where you're still here 4 years later and thriving and continuing to grow?
What is my secret? I think it's my love for what I do. So I in my free time, I'm reading, I'm learning, I'm figuring out what training I'm going to sign up for next. I devour it. I love it so much. So I think that's number one. You got to dig what you do. And I think I've always liked what I did, but not like this, like where, I'm getting ready for a spring break vacation with the family and I've got my books, stacked and ready to go. Not I Kindle. I really like books. And so I'm ready to read them. I don't think I, was as keen to doing that in kind of my, even when I was a journalist or, even transitioning into PR and then fundraising and nonprofit work. So I think that's number one. Number two, I'm almost 50. And I think that when you think about the windy road of different steps in my career, I've had this incredible opportunity to meet all these awesome people. I know you both can relate to this along the way, right? And they're still in town or else they've moved on or they're out, out of the country or what have you. And it's funny when you start a business, if you did good work in the other career, they kind of come out of the woodwork and I get to talk to them and they ask about what I'm doing and I get to learn about them. And like that, the timing for me just was perfect because I think I had built a lot of really good relationships that I am so grateful for. And I think that's made it a big difference.
You Mandy, I'm going to follow up here because you mentioned
I
books.
know. I was going to say, you said books. You said books.
I have lots of books behind me. If you could pick 2 or 3 books that you feel people should like really stop what they're doing right now and start to read them immediately, if you want to tell us more, like what books do you love that maybe you go back to, or what are some new books you've read that you also love?
Okay, so I'm reading, I don't know the author's name. I'm reading right now a book called Fair Play.
Okay, we'll look
And
up
it,
for you.
okay, so Fair Play, Eve is her first name, and she's incredible, but she built a business out of a passion. And so that's one. And it's all about the inequities in the home between husband and wife or partner and partner and kind of how we've got here, years later. So that's one that the real reason when it comes to health and food choices that we don't do really well is because women especially, but we're exhausted and maxed out. And so I still do all of the nutrition. I'm into all of those books still, but I'm kind of into the why phase. So there's also another book called Rushing Women's Syndrome, which is like this incredible woman named Libby Weaver wrote this book. She's from Australia, and it's all about truly why we kind of get into these modes of burnout. And so those are 2 of my big ones right now. So
Interesting. We highlighted them here on the screen for people to see.
Yeah.
We got them there. So awesome. Thank you for sharing those books.
Yeah.
Mandy, while I make these
Love
notes,
good.
yes, over to you.
Well, I'm curious about, because I know we stopped coaching like more than a year and a half ago or so, and it's my fault. I haven't followed up. But I'm curious. I want to hear about the work you're doing with corporate wellness programs. So,
Yeah.
because like I think that sitting is the new smoking, and
Yeah.
we're all sitting at our computers, whether we're at home or in an office place, and packing a lunch and incorporating a workout into the day. Like, I do feel like it is partially the employer's problem, responsibility, interest, something like that. So I'm curious about the work you're doing with wellness programs.
Yeah.
And I'm curious about when you get into an organization, if what they think is the problem isn't the problem and you're identifying new problems, just like the whole
Yeah.
corporate wellness conversation.
So I kind of inched my way into the whole corporate wellness thing, and it started with schools, wellness committees within schools. And the wellness committees are focused on the teachers and staff and administrators. And so I started working with a couple school districts, both private and public. And it was, you know, think about teachers and the, gifts that parents bring. And because they're so grateful for what they do, but there's piles of sugar and donuts and, it's all good hearted things. But so they wanted to start to make changes. And I started working with a commercial construction company. I mean, here's the thing. At the end of the day, corporations, businesses have got to take care of their employees. And if they take care of their employees, their customers will be happy, right? So health affects everything. Health affects everything. And I mean, I can strike up a conversation with almost anyone who wants to know a little bit about food or what we should eat or what we shouldn't eat, or, just questions like that. So yeah, I do lots of different kind of packages for these different organizations, from workshops where I'm just there for half a day and they're popping in and out, the employees, and we're talking through like whole food basics, how to meal plan, how to take their favorite recipe and kind of clean it up. What to buy at the grocery store if they're used to buying something that maybe had a lot of, additives or whatever. So some workshops. I've got one company who I sit right down and they all sign up, and one by one, we've got half-hour one-on-one. So I do exactly what I do one-on-one with my clients, with my corporate, with their employees and their associates. And it's awesome. And then, different kind of groups. And so it's very, it really depends on the culture of each organization, but it's been really fun. And I had this school nurse reach out to me with a before and after picture. And she was like, I just listened to you in one workshop and I lost 10 pounds. We just started eating, whole food and stopped eating the sweets and the processed stuff, and took a walk after she ate every evening. And that's huge for blood sugar balancing. That walk, heck yeah.
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 Awesome.
Yeah.
Love that.
So that's been good. And I've been able to present to a few different HR organizations, and I'm excited to see where that kind of takes me too. So.
And when you're interacting, so it sounds like you're interacting with so many different types of people. What are the top 3 things people are doing wrong? Like, what are the top 3 things, as soon as you hear it, you're like, yeah, we're going to change that? Like, what are the common trends?
Yeah. I mean, it's as simple as water. So, I mean, I had one client who, she didn't like the taste of water. Yeah. I mean, she didn't like the taste of water. So her doctor,
Amani has no water. See?
Water.
You failed, Monty.
So that's one.
And you just got back from Vegas. You definitely need to hydrate.
And electrolytes in that too. Yes. But so it's, I had a client who drank Propel every day instead of water. She didn't really like the taste of water. We switched her to putting a little lemon juice. I mean, not even squeezing the lemon, because who has time for that? She literally got a jar of, nice organic lemon juice, poured a little bit in. She lost 25 pounds because what she did is she took away all of those additives that's in that product. So water is big. I think the other thing is, when you think about your days, and again, I typically work with professionals. So they've got work life, home life, all the things. What's the plan? What is the plan? What's the plan for breakfast, lunch, and dinner? It doesn't have to be like firm, and you don't even have to stick to it. But we plan vacations. We plan, our financial, things. We plan all sorts of things, but we don't know what the heck we're eating for lunch. And when we don't know what the heck we're eating for lunch and we wing it, that's when we grab something. And if we wait until we are starving, we're typically going to make a bad choice. So it's like just taking a step back. I've got some of my clients who we take a piece of paper right next to their bedside table, and before they go to bed, they write down tomorrow, breakfast, lunch, dinner. Again, I don't care if they stick to the plan or not. At least they had kind of the bones of it. And if they had to leave the house for work, maybe they, grabbed some good, healthy snacks, some things that, are whole foods based. So those are kind of planning. Water, probably the biggest thing.
It's good.
You also mentioned walks. One of my goals this year is to take more walks.
Me
And
too.
a lot of people see great minds. A lot of people forget about the benefits of just taking a simple walk. Can you kind of share with us benefits that you have seen and how it helps people and how to fit it into your day when it could be really compact?
Yeah. So, gosh, we work so differently now, right? So it's easy to take your phone along with you and put in your earbud and just go. So to do it, it's a different strategy for everyone, Amani. And what I'll share with you, I talk strategy with my clients all the time. And what works for you is not going to work for Mandy. So I typically do the therapy session and go, what would make you want to go? How do you schedule your day? I am a calendar girl. On my phone, I've got my calendar. If it is on the calendar, I am there. If it's not, I'm not getting to it. And so I think it's for some people who are wired like that, scheduling it is incredibly important. Okay, now let's talk the benefits, because this is big. And on the days when I don't get in a walk, because I'm in the Midwest, it is stinking cold here still. It's the first day of spring, which is beautiful, and we've got sun, but man, it's cold. So the benefits, we can actually bring ourselves out of that state of fight or flight, which if we're driving, we're in fight or flight. So our cortisol is going, we're stressed. Even if you don't feel stressed, if you are in the car, you are stressed. If you are rushing to a meeting, by being able to see the horizon and walk, you are doing so much for your mental health. Grounding, right? So as you walk, especially if you've got thin-soled shoes, flip-flops, things like that, we can't hear, it's too cold. But in the summertime when it's night, being able to do that, you're automatically, again, bringing yourself out of fight or flight. And just so many benefits. The other thing that I think is fascinating, and a lot of us are reading more about this, and that's what it does to our blood sugar. If we eat a meal, let's say like a heavy carbohydrate meal, if we go for a walk, we can drop our blood sugar significantly just by taking that walk. So there is so much benefits to this. And if you, I don't know, a few of my clients and I have got into these. Have you ever heard of these continuous glucose monitors? They're CGMs. So diabetics wear them, but now a lot of people are trying them just to see how your body reacts to food. Because we all react a little bit differently. When you wear a CGM and then you take a walk after a meal versus not, totally different. So lots of benefits.
Why? I don't think I've heard that before, but taking a walk after a meal, why is that so beneficial?
So they're doing studies on it right now. As I understand it, there's some links to the movement of muscles, what happens to the muscles specifically. This is interesting, in the back of your calf. So I actually read an article that said if you do like calf raises, so if you can't get it a walk in, you eat and then you do calf raises, you can actually start to lower your blood sugar. So yeah.
Okay.
That's interesting.
I'll just share one little quick thing about blood sugar. The reason blood sugar is so important is it affects our hunger. it can lead to chronic illness, obviously, like diabetes. So being able to balance our blood sugar so it goes like this and not from very high to very low, that's really key.
Hey, I know you have a follow up, Mandy. I have a follow up too, so I'm going to let you go, and then I'm going to come back to me.
Okay. Well, so we have a lot of CEOs and founders that have been on the previous 14 shows,
Mhm.
a ton of busy professionals that listen and watch the show. What professional business advice do you have for those that are listening and watching that can help them maintain a more healthy life? Like, what are a couple tips? I know we talked about water, we talked about walking, but since you interact with so many professionals,
Yeah.
what are a couple tips that these professionals can do to be more healthy?
So I think, and I know I said it before, I think having a plan for what you're going to eat and drink for the week. I think there's two strategies. One, looking at the week and having that plan. So if you know you're having business lunch here, or if you're going to be flying, just making sure that you don't run into a food emergency where you have to grab something. So especially airports, right? So I think things like that, having a plan is going to be so important for you. Hi, Mandy, you're back. Yeah. And I think that's number one, building time for your health, for stress management. So if you are, a workaholic and you're going, how do you make your morning your time? Or maybe it could be afternoon or evening, really. It's building in I just mentioned that one of those books, she calls it unicorn time. So unicorn time to just do something that nourishes you, like a walk or a phone call with a friend while you're walking, or some kind of connection, something that really feeds your soul. I think that equals, or it can lead to success, because we've got to take care of our health first. If not, I mean, we can't get that back. It builds up and builds up over time. So we've got to make time for that.
Amazing. Oh, so Mandy, I think your mic, something's wrong with your mic there. We can't hear you. So check that. While Mandy's fixing your mic, you mentioned electrolytes and water. What's like, can you explain a little bit more about that? Like, do I put the electrolytes in the water? Like, tell us about that, because that's really intriguing.
Yeah, so electrolytes, it's sodium and magnesium and potassium. And so if we are dehydrated, or if we do, I like hot yoga. So it's something that and it's funny, I was checking my blood sugar. My blood sugar was spiking like crazy after I would do these workouts. And I was working with a nutritionist, and she said, are you doing an electrolyte? So I need to be able to stay hydrated. And when we have sodium, potassium, and magnesium, enough of that in our bodies, then we are able to stay more hydrated. So yeah, I put it in my water. If you don't have them, you can just sprinkle a little bit of nice sea salt, a really good quality sea salt, into your water. And that can also get you hydrated a little bit quicker. It's
Okay,
really important.
Okay,
That's a good
interesting.
tip. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yay. Good. Okay.
Yeah.
No, I just wanted to check in, make sure you can hear me.
Yeah.
I love the tips. I love the pro
Yeah.
tips.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, we've come to the time of the show where we kind of flip the script, and now you can ask each of us some questions. So you choose Mandy or myself. Who do you want to ask the question to first? They can be different questions for us both, the same. We
Okay.
kind of let you be the host real quick. So
I love it. Well, I'm going to put my reporter hat on, and I'm very excited. Okay, so how about I'll start with Amani, okay, and then I'll hit Mandy. How about same question for both of you, because I'm interested. What's your very favorite breakfast?
Oh, I love pancakes. I love pancakes with all my heart. I just had pancakes the other day. I usually have them once a month because I can't have them every week. Yeah, pancakes. Absolutely.
I love it. I love it.
I love a good fruit bowl with yogurt and some granola on top too. That's my second favorite.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, so and I'll share, before Mandy shares, I'll share with you a clean pancake recipe that you could have pancakes a little bit more frequently.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay. All right,
Oh,
Mandy, what's your favorite?
I thought you were going to share it right now. I was
No,
like,
I,
tell me more.
I don't have it memorized, but I can share it afterwards.
Email
Yes.
us. Yes, send it to us. I can't wait.
Okay, I have a follow-up for Amani. How do you dress your pancakes? What goes on your pancakes?
Oh, they're naked besides butter and syrup. That's it.
Oh, okay.
I keep it simple.
Okay, that's good. I have
I
heard
like it.
people put peanut butter on them before, preserves. I was just curious. I
Mm.
am not a pancake person. I was just curious how you dress yours.
That's
Yeah.
how I dress them. They don't
Okay.
have clothes, but go
He's
ahead.
a traditionalist. Yes. I like it. Okay, Mandy, what's your favorite breakfast?
Well, I have to say, I have a before and after favorite breakfast. So I think before I started paying attention to what I was eating, I love a breakfast casserole, and I'll still do it for a holiday, like a breakfast casserole with hash browns and cheese and sausage and veggies, and you bake it and you serve it, then you've got the salsa on top. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that kind of breakfast. But lately, I would say in the last couple of months, and I love it. I eat chicken sausage and that Cascadia Farms, that hash, the frozen hash, that Jen introduced me to.
It's
And
frozen root vegetable hash browns.
it's
Mm.
so good.
Really
And
good.
it's all it is root vegetables. And then I'll have a green with it. So I'll have like a green salad with it, or I'll
Mhm.
have a cabbage with it, or just something. And I haven't really missed eggs at all. In fact, I had eggs a couple weeks ago, and nothing happened when I put them in or took them out, but
Yeah.
I didn't miss it. So yeah, I like a little chicken sausage with some veggies in the morning now.
I love it. Well, also, I have a clean casserole, breakfast
Mm.
casserole recipe for you too.
yes.
So yes,
Send that.
Mhm.
Send it.
They're
There's a
ready.
way.
Yeah.
You're
And
ready.
a little bit of sweet potatoes in an egg casserole is awesome.
Sounds good.
Mm.
Okay.
Have you considered writing a cookbook?
I am a gatherer of recipes. I am not a creator of recipes. So a portal, yes. Some kind of like magical portal is what I don't know. I'm dreaming up ideas, but yeah, actually writing a cookbook. Mm-mm.
You mentioned 4 or 5 different recipes in only 45 minutes. So I'm like,
Yeah.
where can I get all these?
Well, Amani, here's the cool thing. The cool thing is no one has to really create these anymore because there are so many beautiful recipes out there, beautiful cookbooks. And, once you kind of know what to look for and which ones to follow, oh my gosh, they're amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Awesome. Do
So
I get to ask
then-
more questions? No? Okay.
Well,
Oh,
I think
yeah, that's fun.
We have a little extra time, so we can go one and one again. So yes, let's have at it. What's next?
Okay, so what's next? I would love to know so Amani, this would be you. What are you most excited about this year with your business?
Oh.
I would say the professional speaking portion, specifically like I have 2 kind of keynote speeches. One is on how a DJ set can let me think how I can position it. How a DJ set is very similar to growing a business or growing a career. That's one
Mhm.
of them there. And then also have one on why there are no longer any Black R&B groups on the Billboard charts. They've all gone missing. And that's another one. And
Yeah.
so everyone, when I say it, everyone has the same reaction that you just had, like, oh, you're right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Why is that?
it's a combination of 5 or 6 things between hip hop took over, EDM, the Telecommunications Act of '96 caused the opposite effect of what his intention was, where you could be in Cleveland, LA, DC, Miami, you hear the same songs because most radio stations are playlisted.
Yeah.
And the board of directors for those companies are not very diverse, so they don't really
Mhm.
understand or know the music.
Mm.
Also, the recession of 07, 08, 09 really hit the mom and pop record stores and then the big box record stores very hard. Remember when we were growing up, we'd go to the record store to get like a meet and greet. That
Yeah.
really doesn't
Mhm.
happen that much anymore at
Yeah.
record stores, so that's an issue. And then those are like the 3 or 4 main reasons I talk through.
Wow.
And then like growing up, African American media companies like Ebony, Jet, Essence, and then Vibe were really popular. They've all
Yeah.
gone away too. They've all gone
Mhm.
away too. They don't really have strong digital presences, and that really
Mhm.
affects the groups there. So that's kind of a quick
Wow.
summary.
Oh, that's fascinating. Oh,
It
okay.
is. It is.
Manny, what are you most excited about?
Oh, I have so much I'm excited about. I think My group sales coaching side of my business is
Mhm.
I love being in a room full of salespeople. It could be 10 or 200. And I love rolling my sleeves up
Yeah.
and tackling sales problems head on. It's life for me. It's my nirvana. And I've been doing more and more of it. And I'm
Yeah.
excited to do more and more. And then I think on the flip side, as a buyer who
Mhm.
interacts with salespeople all the time,
Yeah.
I
Yes.
feel like in some way I'm giving back to the sales community, and that like in some way down the road it might make my job a little bit easier. If I can just train enough salespeople, that will just spread all the sales goodwill, and then my job
Yeah.
will be easier in the end. But like just being in a room full of salespeople and talking about you can have fun with sales. You don't have to pretend you're not a salesperson, and sales shouldn't be cringy. Like everybody's selling something, and just
Mhm.
really evangelizing that, removing the stigma of sales thing. I just, to me, like it just fires me up. I get real excited about that.
I love it, both of you. That's
Mhm.
awesome.
Yeah.
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 Thanks for asking, Jen.
Oh,
What about
Welcome.
you? What about you? What are you most excited
yes.
about for your business this year?
Ooh, I think it's the corporate and wellness piece. I'm really excited about that. And then reset. I'm going to do another reset group in June. So
Oh,
picking the
good.
date this week. Very excited about that.
How will you launch that? Because I want to tell everybody. Jen let me be a part of I did like a reset audit. She let me do it for free, which I probably shouldn't say to everybody, but she did. Um,
You
and
were
I
already a client, so we were
uh,
like, yes, we were.
okay.
Mhm.
But I would pay for the next one. It was enlightening and easy. It wasn't a huge time commitment. So I would highly recommend anybody participating in that. But how are you going to launch that? Is that going to be available on Instagram or on your website?
I'll
How do
launch
people
it
know about
on
that?
Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook. hmm
Okay.
I'll
Awesome.
Okay.
announce it, and I'll give about a month to sign up. Yeah.
Good to know. It was good to learn a little bit about my body. Like I learned certain peels of vegetables like don't work for me anymore, which I didn't know that before because I had too much stuff in there. When you remove some of the stuff, you're like, this doesn't
Yeah.
work anymore.
Food is information. So instead of looking at food just to fill our bellies, food is information. So it changes, how we feel.
Mhm.
Love it.
Interesting.
Thanks,
Now, if we're
Mandy.
gonna go back and talk to Ginny right as she was graduating from the University of Toledo a few years ago, and give Ginny advice based on what the Ginny of today knows, what advice would you give your younger self?
Ooh,
It could be personal
I
or professional.
okay. Well, so I'm going to go professional. I had an advisor tell me that I was going to change my careers at least 3 times, and I said a bad word. I mean, I said, "Hell no, no, I'm not." I was like, "That is, I am going to be." So I would tell myself to have an open mind,
Mhm.
and I would tell myself to trust myself, bet on myself, instead of always kind of supporting others in a business kind of relationship, always having working for others. I think trust myself. Yeah, that'd probably be the biggest thing. And
Amazing.
journalism is hard. TV news. Kudos to all the people who do that work, both local, national. I mean, it's tough.
How do you feel about, maybe because we have a little bit more time here, like what are some of like your professional goals for the year? I know we talked about how your courses and some of the things you're launching. What are some other professional goals you have for 2023?
So I think my one biggest goal. So I have 2 consulting practices. I have one, my health coaching practice, and then I have Shift Consulting, which is fundraising consulting for nonprofits for very large
Mhm.
campaigns. And there's been an imbalance. My heart is really in building the health coaching practice. My nonprofit client, I want to just work with these select nonprofits that I have a real connection with. So I'm kind of shifting the balance, and it is, I don't, it's so funny how the universe works, right? Because when you start to I've been saying this for a couple years, and it is happening now. And I feel it. And some of it's naturally, and some of it's because of what I've said, or, just, I think that Interesting. So that's the biggest one. And then I have re-signed with an incredible corporate partner, that this incredible commercial construction company. So I'm excited to work with them and continue the corporate work as well.
Now, most people have a traditional mindset when it comes to doing a few different things. We all do at least 2 or 3 different things, and we get different streams of income. What's your response when people are like, you really need to focus on just one thing and just do one thing as your career?
Yeah.
What would you respond to that if someone said that to you?
So here's what Manny knows this. This is my head. My brain tells me that I should be focusing on one thing. And that was Manny's coaching has been incredible with that. But that is the biggest hurdle for me to how do I present myself as a health coach and as a nonprofit strategist? How do they connect? They really do connect in the biggest way, because with both consulting, it's about creating a plan, having the tools to implement the plan, and holding me or my clients accountable. That's how you win. So it's very, and people who lead nonprofits are incredible human beings who work endlessly and tirelessly and need to take care of themselves. So I know that there is definitely a match there. We should have different income streams. We can have different interests. We have different expertise. And I think that's really important for entrepreneurs to embrace. So it's something that it's a challenge for me, but I'm getting there.
Say it louder for the people in the back. That's what we say.
Yes.
Amen. Amen.
Over to you, Mandy. Over to you.
Well, I was just going to build on that. Like, nobody tells Ryan Reynolds that he can only be a movie star, or he can only own a soccer team, or he can only own a cell phone company. Yeah. Nobody limits some of these larger people in our sphere. So why do we limit ourselves? Like, we don't have to. Just pursue all the passions and figure out a way to scale and manage your time and eat your veggies, and everything's fine.
I think the biggest thing is listen to other people who have done it.
Yes.
My brother, my sister and brother-in-law live in Berkeley and own their own business, and they have for years, and they've been telling me for years to do this. And it took a long time for me to leap, but listen to other entrepreneurs.
We're glad you took the leap. I'm gonna kind of flip it, because both Manny and I, we teach younger students, and a lot of them coming into the current landscape for working, it's very intimidating, very scared, very fearful. Because you've been able to make such a successful transition from one career to the next, and you still have a thirst for learning, which I find imperative to succeed in today's world. What advice would you give if you're giving like a quick little mini convocation speech or graduation speech to like students who are about to come out into the working world, based on your experience and where you see yourself going? What would you say to them?
Find what interests you, what you're passionate about, and spend time with people who are doing it right now. So I have a son who is a junior in high school, and this is what I'm telling him. So, go, and I'm connecting him with people I know who are doing whatever it is he's interested in. Figure out if you like it, and you can get into it and then change it also. So I think it's also not being wed to one thing. And any experience, any, strategy that you take on, any kind of career you take on, it will help you that next career choice or that next, business opportunity. You will learn from it. I don't know. I think I grew up, we were scared to fail, but failure is how we learn everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
Great advice. Great advice.
Final question for you, Mandy. We got a couple minutes left. What anything else you want to hear? I mean, Jeannie, if I'm being honest, we could have you on again for another hour and have a whole different line of conversation.
We can talk. Yes.
I have my notes, and I'm gonna go try these electrolytes and these walks after dinner.
Do it.
Yes. Over to you, Mandy.
Well, something we didn't touch on, this might take longer, but let's try and go fast if we can, is dairy. Can you just like give a quick 1-2 on the state of our world with dairy and what your thoughts are on dairy? And if I know a lot of people have been considering removing dairy from their
Mhm.
diets and not like how do people go about that?
So, and just know that I'm not like anti these foods like dairy or wheat or whatever, but it is so there are common foods like dairy that really our bodies, about 75% of us have issue with. The issue is the casein protein and the lactose, which is the sugar. And think about it too. I mean, I again, my age, we grew up in the fat-free era. So we were drinking skim milk and 2% milk, and then that has more sugar than whole milk. So it's when you take it away, you can see if you have a problem, one with that casein protein or potentially lactose in it. And if you find that you do, so you take it out, you bring it back in, you get digestive issues, you know it's bugging you, then there are other options out there, not just plant-based milks. There are nut milks, but there's also A2, which is a different kind of a cow. So there's lots of different options these days.
Okay,
Awesome.
good. Love that. That was
Thank you
great.
Yes.
for
Yeah.
sharing that. Thank you for sharing all your wisdom. Make sure everyone they follow you and support you. I got my to-do list. I'm ready to go. I'm going to report back to you soon enough. Just thank you on just sharing so much information with us. Really appreciate it.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited. And I will share breakfast casserole and pancake recipe ideas to both of you, and you can share it with your followers too.
Oh,
Amazing.
very good.
Awesome.
And if you want to hear some of her recipes, follow on Instagram because I feel like every time you post something, I'm like, oh, I gotta try that. And there's pictures too.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
I'm right
like it's
now. I'm
endless.
really focusing on so lots of recipes, lots of ideas. I'm also focusing on what do I get at a restaurant because I still eat out. So I'm trying to
Mhm.
guide people on better choices.
That's good.
All
I
right.
love that.
Follow the Instagram, follow LinkedIn. Round of applause. Thank you very much. Amazing.
Thank you so
Thanks,
much.
Jen. Thanks for
Thank
being
you.
here. We love
Thank you. Thank
having
you.
you.
Okay, Manny, that does it for our 15th show. Congratulations on 15 shows. Well done there.
Congrats to you. This is like our quinceanera, sort of.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, it is.
Exactly,
It
exactly.
is.
So next week we have Erin Deal that's coming to us all the way. I think she's in North Carolina now, or the Carolinas. She's going to talk to us about improv and kind of her business. She's a firecracker, so I can't wait to have her on the show too. Anything exciting you're looking forward to doing this week, Mandy?
I mean, yeah, it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be a great week. I think it's gonna be. I have a lot of appointments. I get to see a lot of customers this week that I haven't seen in a while. So it's gonna be a great week. What about you? What are you looking forward to?
This is the week leading into spring break in the school, so we just kind of get the students off and running, and for spring break and resting from Vegas. I'm very tired. We had a call earlier this morning, and that was a stretch for me. So that's it, really. And hydrating. I got to drink more water, so I've been so delinquent. I got to do that. So that's there you go. I gotta go grab some
Don't
right now.
don't be a
Yeah.
delinquent. Don't be a hydration delinquent,
I
Amani.
can't wait to report back my progress. Now that it's lighter, longer, I can also go for some walks. I'm looking outside. I
Mhm.
got good things. So that's this week. Everyone, thank you very much for watching, either watching live or the recording. Please tune in next Monday, 4 p.m. Eastern, and 1 on the West. We'll see you soon. Enjoy your week and drink your water too out there. Take care.
Bye. Thank
Bye.
you.